If you are serious about self-improvement, you have got to be brutally honest with yourself. And this is the one reason why I believe that many people can't go through a self-development, self-improvement arc of the life, because you need to be so brutally honest with yourself, with your whole character, in order to self-improve yourself. And this is just going to be like a little raw video, my little journey with self-improvement and what I have learned and the brutal honesty of it. The truth is, if you want to improve yourself, you've got to acknowledge and be honest with yourself and admit that there are areas of your life that you need to improve. That is step one. And that is the step that not many people can put their ego to the side, analyze their characteristics, analyze the habits, and admit that where they're going wrong. And this is one of the most important parts of self-improvement, because everyone has parts of their life that they can improve, everyone. But a lot of people, including this is how I used to act, a lot of people don't want to come to face with them habits that they have. Because we're all sinners. In this world, we are all sinners. You know, as much as you don't want to admit you are, you know, there are things in your life right now that you wish, you know, is holding you back. Whether it is you're going for a custard cream, you're going down to your fridge in the middle of the night and you're eating snacks that you shouldn't do, that's putting your health in jeopardy. Obviously, that's a little bit like extreme, but you're not in the best shape that you possibly can, and there's obviously reasons for it. If you look in the mirror does not make excuses. You know, it's a reflection of where you are and the choices you've made in related to fitness. And yeah, everyone, regardless how well you're doing, everyone has got things in their life, habits, characteristics, things that they're doing that they know is not right, or they know is not going to get them to the place that they want. And this was the first step for me in April. In April, I had this exact realization that the habits that I had, the characteristics that I had, the things that I was doing, the behaviors, it was nothing to the extreme, but it was not, the habits that I had were not aligning with my true potential. That is a problem. But one of the best things is that I had this realization, and I actually was humble enough to look at the flaws, write them down, write down the bad habits that I had, write down things that I wanted to change about my life, and I took action and I did it. And that is the number one step for anyone who wants to self-improve. This is the number one step. You've got to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. And the reason why this video has come to fruition is because obviously I had this realization in April, but right now I'm training a martial art called Muay Thai in Thailand. You've probably seen it on my finger, on my YouTube. I've done a few vlogs about it. You can see it, I'm training it, and I'm a beginner. I mean, I've only started this year. How do I get from a beginner level training a martial art or a sport? How do I get from there, and how do I improve? And you got to be brutally honest with yourself. So I watched some footage of me doing some pads. I'll put it up on the screen now. And I had to be brutally honest and analyze the footage. And I realized my punches were very slow to the point where I was like, yeah, I thought I looked better than that. But I could have done one or two things. I could have just lied to myself and said, it's just the camera angle, it's just this, you know, it's not actually, I wasn't going, you know, I was going light, I did that on purpose. Or I could be humble, analyze and be brutally honest and say, you know what, I need to work on my speed. I need to work on being a little bit more crispy with my punches. And I know this is just a little thing that I'm going through, and that's why I want to tell you about, you know, it's a bigger thing. But if you want to improve at anything, whether it's a hobby, a sport, if you want to improve at a certain thing that you're working on, a business, you have got to be brutally honest with yourself, because, you know, not a lot of people have someone by the side who can be really brutally honest with them, whether it is with fitness, whether it is with a sport. So the main thing about self-improvement is you have got to be brutally honest with yourself. You've got to really look in the mirror, whether it is looking back at footage, whether you're doing training in the gym, training in Muay Thai, whether it is that, or if it's your business, you've got to, you know, if it's the content you're producing and the business isn't going well, whatever it is, you've got to be brutally honest with yourself, because if you're not brutally honest with yourself and you're not humble enough, you're not going to improve. And that is the brutal honesty about self-improvement, is it all stems from you. You know, whether if you're in a relationship right now, usually, you know, your girlfriend or boyfriend is not gonna tell you that you're not doing well. You know, really, it's got to come from within you. You've got to look in the mirror and you've got to really be honest with yourself. I called it the brutal character assassination. Basically, that's what I did to myself in April. You know, because, I mean, some bad habits, let's just explain. No, I didn't give a fuck what I really ate. I just ate when I wanted, snacked when I wanted, ate shit. Weren't taking control of my health, which I think is the fundamental of anyone should really focus on and be intentional with the health, whether it is training. I wasn't intentional with my training, wasn't intentional with my diet, wasn't intentional with a lot of things in terms of improving myself. You know, I was kind of coasting, going through autopilot, and I knew I had this potential, but I was traveling a few months previous to that. You know, I was in Australia, I was I was just trying to enjoy the moment, but you know, it kind of adds up where you're like, fuck, I've gone through months here of just coasting, and it can happen to anyone. You know, you can always get in a rut, but the way you get out of the rut is you've got to have that penny drop moment. Something's got to click. You got to look in the mirror and be like, fuck, I need to change. It's got to come from within you. Nothing changes if nothing changes, and if you don't make that change, no one really. I'm not the type to go around telling people you're not training right, you're not eating correctly. You know, no one's going to do that because you'll just be a knob. Like you can't just go around in the gym saying you're not training as hard as you can, even though it probably is the case. So it's got to come from within you. You know, I see a lot of people in the gym, you know, they've been training for years, but they don't improve. And it's like, you've got to look at yourself in the mirror. You have got to be humble. I think being humble is such a big thing with self-improvement. Be humble. There's a quote that sticks out to me from Alex Hormozy. It's like, if you're around people who are doing better than you, you know, you quieten your ego and look for the lesson. But you know, it's the same way when you look in the mirror. You've got to analyze and be like, or analyze the day that you've had and be like, oh, why did I have that treat? I shouldn't have done that. I could have had something healthier. I could have done this, could have done that. You don't want to be too harsh on yourself, but you've got to be humble enough to actually analyze the bad habits that you're going through and be more conscious of them. It's a big thing that I always talk about, being conscious of the decisions that you're making through the day and not going through life willy-nilly. And that's like a big intention that I've had since April of like, you know, if I do eat anything crap, I'm conscious of it. And then after it, I'll be like, did I regret it? Did I not? If I do regret it, that's being caught on my diet. Because sometimes you do, you know, everyone has treats and stuff, but being more conscious of the decision, you know, if you're eating crap, be conscious of it and be like, you know, is that improving your life? Is the fulfillment and is the short dopamine that you have from eating, is that greater than the delayed gratification you would have got if you would have just stuck to the diet? And usually the case is the delayed gratification is better. Just thought I would make this video because it's something that I've gone through. Literally, the other day I watched this footage of me doing pads and I realised, crap, I thought I looked better than that. And I said, nobody else told me. This is another thing. Nobody else told me, oh, my punching needs to be quicker. It was me. I looked at it. I was like, my punches are very slow. And I guess it is because I've got probably my arms are a little bit too big, you know, but just be a bit quicker. And that's what I'm focusing on this week. And that is my intention this week, being quicker with my punches, being snappier. But that intention of me wanting to improve my speed would never be possible if I didn't analyze the footage and if I wasn't humble enough. So I'm gonna finish the video with something. I'm gonna finish the video with a task. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. But there is something that I want you to do now. As soon as you finish this video, I want you to put your phone to the side, get a pen, get a paper. I want you to write down 3 to 5 habits that you have right now that you know is not improving your life and is not helping you get to the place where you want to be. Whether it is fitness-wise, whether it is business-wise, whether it is waking up earlier, whether it is doom scrolling when you wake up, whether it is eating them custard creams before bed, you know, and snacking on a whole piece of chocolate before you go to bed, which is probably destroying your calories for the day and your progress. Everyone's got these vices and everyone's got these sins that they do that you only know to yourself because nobody else is probably analysing the things you're doing. Let's be honest, no one's analysing your diet other than you. Only you know these, but you'll have 3 to 5 habits that you know is not helping you. Whether it's drinking, you need to write it down. You get a pen and paper and write them thoughts, and you bring them thoughts from the back of your head down into the arm and on a piece of paper, because what I found in April it really helped is having these ideas in the back of your head, bringing it in onto a piece of paper, and you write and be specific as to what you're doing and why it's not helping you, and the reason why you want to eradicate it as well. If you can go into the more detail you can, it will just flow off the hand, and then after it you look at the habits that you've had, and you look at it and you read it and you understand why they're not helping you. The more brutally honest you can be, the better. But you write it down, it brings it to life, and you realize what you need to change. And if you really want to go extra further, write down habits that you want to now implement to become the person that you want to be. Because the more specific you can be with the habits that you want to implement, the better, because you then have basically created a path of like, crap, these are the things I don't like about myself, these are the things that I want to do. You've wrote it down, you've brought it to life, and really if you don't change the habits, it is down to you and it's your fault, and you will have that guilt if you don't not follow them habits, which for me gave me no excuse to not follow them, because it's come from me. I've been brutally honest with myself. I've implemented them. That's why my transformation's changed. That's why the way I speak changed. That's why a lot of things, a lot of the bad habits that I had, I changed. And maybe in a future video I can go through the exact habits, because I've still got the task and the worksheet where I've wrote down everything. So maybe on a future video, maybe some time down the line, I will share that with you and be honest. But for now, it's your turn. Write down the habits, write down your new habits that you want to implement. And yeah, trust me, once you do it, the more specific you can be, the better, because once you do it, you have said that to yourself. You've brought them thoughts in the back of your head that you're basically unconscious of right now, probably. Or you know that they're not good habits, but you're kind of like putting it off and thinking, nah, they're all right, it's not bad. It's only a few custard creams. But I'm a big believer in small changes over a long period of time equals results. And it's so true. Them packet of biscuits you have before bed every night, times that by 7 days, times that by 365 days over a year, it makes a big difference. So yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble. Might do more videos like these, might not, but it's a lesson that I thought was worth sharing. So yeah, much love. Said the mission is to inspire and to improve other people whilst I'm improving myself. Because yeah, why not? Let's share the love. Subscribe for more. Let me know if you want any other tips, tricks about Thailand, travel, Muay Thai, fitness. Much love. Hope we have a lovely rest of the day. And yeah, peace.